Hello Seawolves and welcome back to the show. Really nice to see that you all epically enjoyed that episode with guest star Conrad Coleman. Very nice to see all the comments. And actually let's do the toast first, but I got a cool message also for this. And today we got a really cool toast today. Gonna be awesome. I hope you have something delicious in your, hopefully by now, official Seawolf mug. Only one more month to get an official, during the Vendeeglobe, official Seawolf mug. So go for them now. Don't miss out on this unique opportunity to support the channel that you love every day. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Cheers, Wolves.
这是2025年的1月1号，现在天亮了，新年的第一缕阳光分享给大家。虽然不是非常的强烈的阳光，但还是新年的第一缕光线了。哈哈，新年快乐！呜呼！
Yeah, how's that, huh? On board with Jean Zhu. Finally, I was waiting for him to shoot some amazing footage so we could really sort of see him in action, kind of throughout the day. So really cool to finally be able to show that off, with his handicap, doing amazing, and actually some amazing epic sailing shots as well. So very happy to, make a little bit of a longer, inclusion with him in the show here today. Very nice. So about the show yesterday, actually another cool thing about Conrad, of course, he ran into some ice. That in a second, more about that. But we were chatting yesterday, who you wolves would like to see kind of hijack the show also. And we got we got a top 10, but we have the top 3. We have Jean Le Camp, no big surprise there. We have Violet Derange, and we have Boris. So the wolf is at work for you guys to make it happen. But in order to help me make it happen, I need your burning questions for those 3, because all 3 of them I'll ask them to also do a little Q&A for us. So I want your questions. So after the show today, let me know in the comments your questions for Jean Le Cam if he would do a Q&A in the show, your questions for Violet Durans, and your questions for Boris, so I can communicate it, because obviously we're going to give him the questions ahead of time, because it's very, the schedules are very tight, so they need to find some time to shoot this and do that. So put your questions for those 3 in the comments below, yes? So, then very interesting, of course, about the race. It is cool to see how far technology has come. Don't underestimate the impact of Starlink on this race and the ability for all the skippers to get us these amazing images. And last night it really was kind of driven home. I'm literally laying in my bed like 3 o'clock at night or something, and my phone is like ding ding, and I see I have a WhatsApp message from Conrad, and he's like, check this out. And there's a picture of this massive iceberg. I'm sure that most of you have seen it also, because the race website also opened with it today, but just massive iceberg. And he also attached a drone video. So the idea that someone who's literally off the coast of Antarctica can send you a WhatsApp message like, hey, check this cool thing out, is really quite amazing. It's a stunning technological development, and I knew that before this race it was going to be different because of the major advancements in cameras, with GoPros and phone cameras, and also the stabilization. I mean, except for Jeremy Bijou, I guess he's the only one who managed to find a camera that doesn't have stabilization in. This particular race. But other than that, very stable footage, very stable stuff, and it's so cool that we're getting that through satellite feature. And to add insult to injury, after my own fledgling FPV drone demonstration on the show yesterday, I guess Conrad felt the need to sort of show who's the FPV boss. So check this out.
Oh my god. Iceberg. Holy shit! I'm shivering, and not only because of the cold, but because right over there, that's what I've been looking for. Oh my god. It's a freaking massive iceberg. Wow, it feels massive when you know that if you hit anything out here, it's game over. Pretty high stakes game. Whoa. And certainly captures your attention, that's for sure, because I'm now looking ahead of me, looking to see whether there are any little growlers, any bergy bits as they get called, see whether the waves are breaking in any different way. Whoa. Normally the little guys run in front of the big ones, so passing to weather on the windward side is the safe side to pass an iceberg. But look at him! Look at him there! Ah! Oh, it's scary. So yesterday, the race directions sent me and the other daggerboard boats in this area a message saying, hey, there are a couple of targets you might want to know about, and that is these icebergs that have drifted out of the ice exclusion zone. Here are their positions. Good luck. Try and avoid them. But it was pretty unclear as to which way they were moving, how many there were, whether there were some false positives or not. So as I've been approaching the zone, that's why I've come down so far south. It's because I wanted to pass to windward of any iceberg, because apparently it's dangerous to pass to leeward of them, because that's where their children are, where they're the bergy bits, growlers. And so I've been working my way down as far south, so that, and then I had reports from Eric, who saw another one, but further north. So I thought I was in the clear here. But I mean, it's just crazy. It's beautiful, but it's menacing and it's scary. And it's only 2 miles away. And I'm close enough that I can see the waves breaking onto its flanks and sending up shoots of spray. And whoa, it is so cold. I mean, there are ice chunks around, so I guess that makes sense. But whoa, this is brutal. And I mean, I saw ice in my first race around the world. In the Global Ocean Race in 2011, 2012, and I was sailing in a little race in a Class 40, and the race direction didn't have the resources to plot the icebergs from the satellites, and so we had no idea. It was complete Wild West. And I remember cruising along and looking over my shoulder like now and seeing this massive chunk of Antarctica that was out floating in the Pacific. And I can tell you, I did not sleep well the night after that, because I wasn't expecting it, didn't see it very clearly, and was just surprised by this massive chunk of ice. What's amazing though, well, that's scary. it did show up on the radar for a while, but now not at all. I guess it's maybe this target down here somewhere, but it just goes to show how isolated, how dangerous this is, because there's the radar and it's not seeing it. All right, well, I think that's gonna haunt my dreams for the next week. That is big and scary. Okay, well, I slowed the boat down so that I could have a look at this and make sure that there were no bogey bits around. But now I'm gonna sheet on and get the hell out of here.
Very cool to see him actually drone fly through his shrouds. You know, talk about ballsy drone flying in the Southern Ocean. I guess he's not first in the race, but he definitely is going to win the prize for the most ballsy drone pilot during the race. So that's pretty cool. And that was actually it as far as, so no major breakages or anything like that in the last 24 hours. So good on all the skippers there for just a nice cruise around. So just let's dive right into the technical analysis here. Now the battle, of course, between Charlie and Johan still going on strong, but I have to say, man, are they unlucky in this particular area, because it's not really, they're kind of pre-doldrums still. It's more sort of like a shoot-off of the St. Helena High, which is just spread out just massively across the entire southern Atlantic there. And they really got quite unlucky. And I mean, if I reverse here for a second, just kind of there, oh, let me just select one of them, otherwise it doesn't work. But if I reverse here and I go like yesterday, day before that, day before that, it's like already for 4 days, they have like, you know, in the Southern Ocean, they were doing this kind of distance in 1 day. And now they've just taken 4 days of just a grindy slowdown. I mean, it's crazy. And of course, the followers behind, not super fast, but quite a bit faster. And also today, I mean, both of the gents have done basically 6 knots over the last 24 hours average for Charlie. So that is kind of disastrously slow. And well, if we compare it to Thomas Rouillant, he's doing 8, so that still doesn't seem much, but that's 2 full knots faster for 24 hours. That's still a good day distance gained again. And also for the rest of the kind of foiler fleet, they're all kind of on averages of like 8 or 9 knots. And also if we look at the last 24 hours, or the last hour and 4 hours, Charlie and Johan have been doing like 5 or 7, while most of the foilers there have been doing 9, some actually 13, 14. So they're still losing some distance again over the last 24 hours to the guys, and it's still, yeah, they still have some like pretty quiet stuff ahead. So not really great for the leaders there, and they're kind of keeping pace. So the catch up is not super fast, but still pretty bad. And it stood out a little bit that especially Boris, you know, had been a bit slow, but has been speeding up again and still in 8th position. So in that sense, kind of good. Jeremy also kind of holding on to his 7th position, a bit of a grind. He posted a big article on the main website sort of about his frustrations about, you know, having the fast boat there and not really being able to kind of you know, translate it into a really like a front top 5 position. But anyway, you know, it is what it is. So good passing of Cape Horn, both for Samantha Davis, Benjamin Dutroux, and Clarisse Kramer. Nice images from Clarisse, kind of having Benjamin literally in sight as she was sailing. So that looks kind of cool.
Barre à barre avec l'ami Benjamin Dutroux.
Yeah, so some close match racing there. Well, they're not that close, but Roman Athanasio and Damien Seguin also having a nice little twosome there. And you can see that Jean, again, he hasn't really gained on both gents, but he's been surprisingly consistent and still manages to keep the distance pretty much the same, kind of like what I was saying yesterday. So yeah, he's really putting down the speed. Also last hour again, nice averages of 17 plus knots. So both these foilers are a little bit faster, but I mean 1 knot faster. And actually Roman has been a little slower than Jean, like about 1.5 knots slower. So he's been basically keeping pace or actually still gaining a little bit on them. I'm actually curious. Let's take a quick look at the at the routage for Jean. Yeah, so it's saying slower. I don't think. I think he's going to be keeping pace. So he's not going to overcome them before the Cape by any long shot. But he's got good wind, so I think he's gonna just do a Jean and keep a straight line there, no frills, and he's gonna keep pace with them. So that could get interesting once they pass the Cape. Maybe there will be some chances. Like I would be willing to put money on the fact that maybe somewhere before the doldrums, Jean will make a little attack on the two gents before they get there and maybe steal one place. Good news also for Alan Rora. He after the whole disaster with the sail, he's really been finding the speed a little bit. So of course we know that Giancarlo still has the engine problem. It's not been entirely solved. And Isabel Josko also sailing a bit in, sort of like keeping things together mode. So he's a bit advantageous there. But, props where it's due. And he's been sailing, pretty fast for the wind that he has. 11 or so knots average over the last 24 hours. And he's been kind of keeping pace as far as the weather with Jean. Not really falling much further behind. So good on him there. Then we have the Foiler group. So you can all imagine that they probably heard from Conrad about the ice. So that is interesting that they're probably all, they have been sailing very close to that ice guard. And I guess a good illustration for all of us watching the race that it's not some arbitrary, like there really is ice there. They really are, circumnavigating Antarctica, the big ice continent, right? And Antarctica has been having more ice, right? So I know that we're all, global warming and all this stuff, but as far as Antarctica actually has a big accumulation of more and more ice over the last 10 years or something, especially in the inland of Antarctica. And that's also one of the reasons that they have more heavier ice, that there's actually more ice breaking off and getting into the ocean also. So it's not so much less ice, it's more ice. And like what Conrad was saying in his whole ice bid there, like when you see the big things, it's more the small, what they call the growlers, that people should be afraid of, because it's essentially like, I always think that, but this is a personal, like here we go with Florian's personal science again, but for my mind, like water is metal, right? I always personally think that water is maybe the one wrongly classified material in the periodic table, because it's sort of the one metal that we really work with and that we have like a super abundance of. And it's liquid at room temperature, right? But I think actually water is best classified as a metal. So ice it's a brittle metal, but it's essentially a metal, right? It's a form of a metal as far as what material it is. And so it is really very hard. And even if you hit like a meter by meter growler, the way it literally weighs a ton, like an a growler of 1 meter by 1 meter, literally as far as the weight of water, right? It literally weighs a ton. So imacas are strong, like carbon is also like, it's very, sometimes higher density than many metals, right? So it's not exactly like a super brittle material in that sense. It can handle something, but it's definitely not something that you want to try with like a good size growler. So it just goes to show, and if I was any of the sailors there, like I appreciate what Conrad said about kind of the wake-up call that he got as far as like, hey, there is ice here. And when it's like in view, that means it could also be passed, right? It's just a model, this ice line, same as all the other things that we're working with. It's a model, it's not reality. So in the end, they have to use their own eyes. Their Oscar system, of course, maybe helping them a little bit to spot, any big items in the water. But if I was sitting there and you're sleeping and you literally see an iceberg like in visual distance like that, quite shocking and quite nerve-wracking, I would say, to be sailing so close to ice and doing it that fast. So pretty crazy news there. So I can imagine that there's a few more nervous sailors around here, but other than that, everybody's sailing good. Conrad still kind of in last position there, but everybody, kind of keeping pace and sailing as a nice peloton there. A lot of people were commenting that they like me using the French word there, so I'll keep doing that. Tout good. Yeah, so he's still, I feel a bit sorry for Ollie, having an hour. So yesterday he was only in the low wind for like about 2 hours and he had an average of 0.2. And now he has a 24-hour average of 4.2 knots. Must be pretty frustrating. I feel really quite bad for him being stuck there, but yeah, I guess maybe he's just taking some photos and doing some nature photography while he waits for the wind to return. Poor Ollie. Behind him, of course, Antoine Cornac sailing nicely, really kind of in a nice little duel there with Jean Genjou, which we saw earlier in the show. We see Emmanuel Cozin very close racing with Fabrice Amadeo, but also in a big wind hole, so they kind of stuck. And Dennis van Wijnberg finally grabbing his moment to really catch up to the two gents here, as he's the only one in the back who's kind of really in good wind now and blasting along at a nice 10-knot VMG. So pretty good racing in that sense. And that's it for the update of today. So make sure to put your questions potentially for Jean Lacam, Violet Derange and Boris in the comments below. The Wolf is going to go hard at work to get him in the show somewhere in the next 2-3 weeks or so. Trying, of course, before we get to the finish for you guys. So enjoy your day. Put your comments in the, like the video, of course, also share it with friends, and see you in 24 hours. Ciao, Wolves!